Well, good evening, 7:01. We're running a little bit behind by a minute, but here we are with another week from the Toxic Reality Show. My name, you can call me Gordon, Mr. Nathaniel, brother, whatever you feel like, I'm here. Toxic Reality Show, Gordon Nathaniel here for another episode. We're going to be doing this every Sunday, Eastern time at 7 p.m. I'm trying to stay consistent with that schedule, so please tell one, tell all. I know most of my audience is 90% men. Many of you are on the East Coast and a strong contingent out of Africa. Thank you, brothers, for your support. What we're going to talk about. Eboni K. Williams once again makes news. And, sisters are a bit upset. Now, if you don't remember, Eboni Williams is the same lady. A little bit of background to her. She went to University of North Carolina, one of the top colleges in the nation. She's a lawyer. And she caught a lot of media attention before when she said that she would not date someone who is a bus driver, allegedly. I'm talking about a lawyer, so we got to be careful. And caught a lot of flack over saying that basically some allege that, are you saying that someone who drives a bus is beneath you? And she said, well, if he owns a company, it's different. So these are some of the things, some of the allegations that were raised, and she caught a lot of smoke over that by saying that basically a hardworking man is suggesting that a hardworking man is beneath her. So what's interesting is I was watching her, shout out to the Breakfast Club, was watching her doing an interview on the Breakfast Club about her most recent statement with regards to advice as a woman approaching 40 to 20-year-old women. And specifically, you have to, when I play this, we have to take note of the audience. The audience is 20-year-old women that an older woman is trying to impart knowledge on her. Now, what's also interesting about that in itself, women, there was a time 50, 60 years ago that a 40-year-old woman who was probably already married 20 years would give advice to a younger woman. These days, the 40-year-old woman is competing for the same man that the 20-year-old is competing with. And the 20-year-old woman has the option, she doesn't necessarily have to date a 40, 50-year-old man, but in many parts of the world, it's not uncommon for a 20-year-old to seek protection, provision, and leadership, those things that can be provided by an older man as opposed to a man her age who's still trying to get there. As the studies have shown, most men don't hit their stride until their 40s. So if they want that type of perfection, they want the home, they want the resources, generally that comes with a 40-plus-year-old man, by and large. And the same 40-year-old women are either married to them or going after the same man, wanting someone in their age group. The thing to take note is this. When we're both 20 men and women, we date each other. It's not a problem. 20-year-old dude, 20-year-old girl. Even as we approach 30, a 30-year-old man can now date 20 and up to 40 if he wants, right? Meanwhile, the 30-year-old woman, she's dating men her age. She can have sex with men younger than her, provided she's attractive, but committing to a relationship is a bit more difficult. Now, as the woman now, as she approaches 40, and the man is 40, well, he's dating 20 to 50. He can date whatever he would like. Meanwhile, the 40-year-old woman, any guy younger than her, by and large, there are exceptions, but most of the times, guys, a 25, 35-year-old man is not thinking about marrying a 40-year-old woman. Sex only, recreational use. The 40-year-old man can date from 20 all the way up to 50 if he wants. A hot gilf, a MILF. And women are upset about this. What's interesting is that Eboni is choosing to spit some game to younger women that's not normal. And she's almost saying, I regret my decisions and let me help you out. But in her speech, she's cleaning up for feminism so much to not anger the feminazis of the world. But we get it. And we hear her loud and clear because she's not speaking to men. She's speaking to young women. She's also speaking to the parents of young women, saying, hey, you're about to go to college. This is the greatest grouping of men you're going to find. In your age group, if you're ready to settle down at 20, to have fresh eggs, not 40-year-old eggs. I mean, let's be honest. Eggs age from the day a woman's born. They're in her, and they stay there until she runs out of eggs to ovulate. So at 40 years old, although it is possible, it's not likely. And another tidbit that Miss Williams, Eboni K. Williams, has revealed is that she is currently going through IVF treatment. She's taking all of the hormones and medication. She's not even 40 yet, but apparently her body is not producing eggs or is not receptive of the idea of getting pregnant. So to force and trick the body, to trick nature, to act as God, you have to take a whole bunch of hormones to prepare your body. And this treatment, as she revealed, can cost up to $50,000. And she's doing it alone. Now, she chose career and finance and provision. And now here she is approaching 40, and she can't have kids without IVF or without the whole process of taking the medication. So without further ado, let's let Miss Eboni tell it. Here we go.
The reality that needs to be said out loud is that as black men age, their desirability increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding. And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. Because the number of college-educated black men is so low when compared to black college-educated women that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men. And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because the handful of black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older. And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood. Now, I'm not saying that delaying marriage or motherhood is a bad option, but it's one that comes with its own consequences.
Consequences. All right, I wanted to give her a chance to say it, and now we're going to break it down. Because there's so much in that comment from about a year ago of a confident, arrogant woman who refers to men as mediocre. Now the wall is hit. And now she feels as though all of the junk that I said before, it's time for me to impart and share knowledge and help other women who have made the same mistakes. And she tries to cover it up, but we'll break it down because she doesn't want to anger. Mind you, she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Millions members of sisters in that organization. So she doesn't want to alienate and anger those women. But this issue is not just a black woman issue. This is a Western world, modern woman issue. Now, the ratio for black women may be 7-1, but it's not any better overall. The actual statistic in 2021, 52% of college graduates were women. So when we talk about wanting equality, it's now greater for women, and it's trending. By 2030, that number could approach 60%. So for women who are in college who demand, or a set of their requirements is, he must have a college degree like me, the scarcity is going to be there. The men who do decide to go to college are going to have a field day with all of these women vying for their attention. We're talking not only women in your class, but women who've graduated 10 to 15 years prior are probably going to be at your graduation with gifts saying, hey, you're graduating, really loved you, blah, blah, blah. These men are going to be kings of the castle, demanding whatever they want. All the things that women put up such a fight before, turn over your paycheck, they will do anything to have a man. Because then there will be scarcity if you choose as a requirement someone who was also graduated from college like yourself. And that same man has the choice of a woman who didn't graduate from college. Because let's be honest, most men, we don't care. If the girl at McDonald's is fit, fine, feminine, likes to have sex and treats me right and gives me peace at home, I don't really care about her income producing ability. Treat me right. I don't care about your degrees. And poor Ebony, you know, the rooster has come home to roost. Here we go.
Reality that needs to be said out loud is that as black men age, their desirability increases.
They increase because, as I said prior, a man at 20 years old, he's just graduated from college, he's got debt, or he's starting his career, starting his trade. He's just getting out of the house, he's getting an apartment, he's got a car note, he's got expenses, he's got a truck that he's got to pay for. But as he ages and hits 30, and then he hits his stride at 40, and he trades in the old car, he's got a new one, now he's got a house, he's living by himself. Now he's a six-figure guy. It increases.
Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding.
Optionality of women. Now, understand she's an attorney. So what she's saying is your options increase because my money's getting stronger. So I'm 30, 40 years old or 50, and I got my money, I got my provision, I've got my sense. I'm a leader. I have finance. Now that expands too. So for guys, as you age and you're on your purpose, it gets bigger.
And the exact opposite is true for black women.
Not just black women, for all women.
As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate,
Nope.
our degrees or professional accolades.
Don't care.
The reality is that our marriage and partnership market value,
your sexual marketplace value, is a depreciating asset. You see, the other part of this is the eggs that Ebony has to contend with. Her eggs probably doesn't have them anymore. If she's still capable of birthing a child, it means her eggs are cobwebs. It means she's not producing eggs anymore, or viable eggs. And I did a show about this. And a woman commented in the chat, oh, Gordon, women in their 40s, I know women in their 40s who are having kids. The exception is not the rule.
is depreciating with every passing year.
Understand what we're saying when we say depreciating. Women, when you are born, you have a couple 100,000 eggs. By the time you turn 12 and you start ovulating, you're down to like 40,000 eggs. By the time you get to your 40 years old, you're down to about 100 eggs that you're dropping once every month. Give or take. For Ebony, hers dried up probably around 37, 38. She's got no more eggs. So she has eggs. So what the medicine will do is trick the body into saying, those rusty old sour eggs you got sitting up there, why don't you release a couple of them, maybe 20, and let's go ahead, and you're really not 40 anymore, you're really 24. The drugs trick the body and say, we're okay, we're still young again. Why don't you go ahead and take those old eggs, ancient ones off the shelf and put them in production? You still got old eggs. And she still got to get a sperm donor. And in her mind, as Christian as she is, and I'm not questioning her faith, But are we saying that God said you don't need a man and a father's not important in a child's life, and your desire to have a child is more important than that child having a father? It's another battle. Look at her face. And I'm not trying to tear her down, but the rooster's coming home to roost. For all of these feminists, this is painful. And I guarantee you, all of them estrogen drugs that are loaded up in her right now is affecting the way she thinks. And she feels compelled. I got money. Girl's got a gold Hermes bag. She's got millions. She's an attorney. She's got a a podcast. She's got it all. She ain't got a man. She ain't got a kid. So she's going to use her money to do it because she's got 50 grand. That ain't nothing for her. But all of that is regret.
No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us.
It is a knock. Madam, you cannot conceive a child at 40 years old. And yes, you're very attractive. I mean, look at her. Great shape, physical specimen. She's a feminist. She's a lawyer, so she's great at arguing. But it's not perceived dwindling. It is. You don't have any viable eggs, madam. This is not a theory. You after 37 years old, it is called geriatric pregnancy, ma'am. I am happy that you are doing this and speaking to younger women as your own example. The only thing you could have added is saying, take it from me. I was led astray.
And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose.
This is her feminism coming in, if that's what you choose. Then when they turn 30, and a lot of you guys send me screenshots from dating apps of women who are stating 40 and open to kids. It's too late to change. You were put on this earth to multiply. At the end of the day, you're equipped with the means and the goods to multiply. And ideally, leave the future generation better than how you received it. So it is not a perceived fertility. See, here's the thing. Women are born with a finite amount of eggs. Men recreate sperm daily. So an equivalent, not to compare humans to tires. But when you put a fresh, brand new set of tires on a car, for men, every day, you get a brand new set of tires. For women, you drive those tires as they wear down, depreciate, until they're bald and useless, and potentially you crash because you crash into the wall. Funny one should say it, because you have no tread. It's not an insult. This is the give and take of life. You can't create new eggs. So when you are seeking fame, fortune, and career, remember there's a clock ticking. Most of us men, we're making sperm at 70, 80 years old. We can have kids. You cannot.
Because the number of college-educated black men is so low when compared to black college-educated women that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men.
This is a known fact. Thank you for that, Ms. Williams. Most of the dating apps have reported between Tinder, Bumble, Match, Facebook, eHarmony, that 80% of women are going after the top 20% of men. A guy that's 40 years old has the choice of a woman from 25 all the way up to 50. Hell, just last week I was out in D.C., sitting there having drinks with a 26-year-old nurse. Beautiful chocolate girl. Beautiful. We're exchanging. She gives me her phone number, all of this stuff. I'm considerably older than her, double. And, and she's sitting there with me the entire night. I have 4 other friends who can verify this phenomenon. But my dating pool is from that age, 25, 26, up to my age and even higher. They think that they can date men, let's qualify date or have sex with. Guys that are 30 years old are saying, oh, you're a hot grandma, I'll screw you. They ain't trying to wifey you or have a relationship. There's a difference. It's sport fish. I'm not bringing you home to cook. It's sport. You caught the fish, you take a picture with it, and you throw it back in the water.
And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all
salute, brothers. The world is yours. Enjoy. Do not run down the hill and have sex with one. No, walk down the hill and have sex with them all, if that's what you want. This is time for payback. This is how the balance of nature works and feminism works. You women have created a situation now with your zeal and lust for career that the age-old truths for thousands of years where men were the providers, the leaders, the protection. Now you want to be equal and you want to be the provider. But here's the thing now, you've priced yourself out of your own market. You're all 6 figures with JDs and degrees and MBAs, and those guys are finite. And they became even more rare as more women showed up. And now you want a guy that's on the equal footing as you, but that guy he could go, again, age 20 to 50, and he doesn't care about degree. He doesn't care what she does.
do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD.
She didn't say drop out of school. That's not interesting. She said pursue getting married as well. You can't have 2 leaders, Miss Williams. Are you going to choose your husband and family, or are you going to choose career? Because as she said in the Breakfast Club interview, and she's sharing her own personal experience, she said when your husband has a speaking engagement in another country, he doesn't want to hear, oh, I've got to do a speaking engagement over there, and then the next week I've got to fly out to this, that, and the other. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for a wife to be with me. I didn't sign up for you to have all this other stuff outside of our home and my circle and my plan. And she was speaking from experience. And they asked her, are you speaking from experience? And she said, yeah. It's not what a man wants.
Because the handful of black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older.
Look at her face. That is somebody who has been beaten by society. Look at that face. You almost want to be sympathetic, but no, this is what they created. Let them live in it. They've created this mess. You know, I'm a boss bee and all of this stuff, right? And again, pardon me, I'm looking at the big screen. You probably can see the reflection on my art, but that's where I'm playing everything. But this is what they wanted. And now you're crying upon the world and the environment that you created.
And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood.
Oh, yeah, because if I'm 40, I don't want you. You're good looking, but it's sport fish. Right? She has to consent. You know, and another thing that, you know, we need to do a show, but we're going to talk about. And I thank you guys again for the screenshots that you've sent me. info@ToxicRealityShow.com. But so many women are saying, oh, you know, one, not only are they open to children at 40, but on top of it, they think that they're trying to dictate a relationship. Ladies, you control access to sex. We control access to relationships. You can't dictate, oh, I'm not here for, you know, friends with benefits or a one-night stand. You can't control that. That's my decision. You decide if you allow me to have sex. But for many of you, if you say no sex, there's no relationship. So sex got to come first. And maybe if you're nice enough, if you're pleasant, you're fit, fine, feminine, friendly, and bring peace and enjoy sex with him, maybe, just maybe, he'll say, you know what, I'm good here. I want to pitch my fork right here, and this is the house that I want to remain in. But if you're trying to make demands on, prior to even having sex or intimacy, you're going to dictate relationship? Pass.
Now, I'm not saying that delaying marriage or motherhood is a bad option.
It is. Look what happened to you. You're 39 years old staying home alone, sticking needles in yourself to trick your body into being young again so that you, on your own, can play God and conceive a child. And I pray that it's a healthy child. Because there's that. You're using old eggs with sperm that you bought somewhere, or maybe a friend of yours gave it to you. But no, it is a bad option waiting. Really and truly, I really wonder if the rise in birth defects is tied to women waiting past 30 to conceive.
But it's one that comes with its own consequences.
Yes, indeed, there are consequences. And those consequences could be, Down syndrome, limbs or hearing, sight, a number of birth defects. So let's talk about that. And let's have that open conversation. I do appreciate Miss Williams opening up, but it came with a consequence for her. She is now living in her own world that she created, where a lot of women were told to get your advanced degrees, forget men, pursue you, be a boss bee, make all of this money, you don't need no man. And now, time, biology, God created us this way. This is the great equalizer. And now it's coming home to roost. And now, thankfully, we have a 39-year-old woman telling you I got it wrong. And she's trying to be polite. If you choose, no. Because she chose for 20 years, and now, and mind you, she was married. She filed for divorce, following the 80% rule. 90% if they have a college degree, they initiate divorce. She was engaged as well, ended that. And now here she is, 39 years old, all of that money, all of that fame, all of that career, and you're single, alone, sitting there going through, and I'm not wishing bad on her, but I can't imagine what it must be like every night or every few nights sticking and taking all of them drugs. I know there must be some sick stomach, upset stomach, just feeling like crap. And she's doing it alone. Nobody there to sit there and rub your feet and be there with you and like, babe, it's okay. Let me go get you something. She's doing it alone. Talk about sitting there every night and regretting what you did for 20 years. All of the men, she's a beautiful woman. Sure, many of men wanted to be with her, would have loved to marry her. And she's like, nah, you're a bus driver. Bet you wish you had that bus driver now. Anyway, the question is, did Eboni K. Williams suggest women should focus on marriage instead of career? You heard it from her first. She's saying if that is your priority, I can't imagine what else would be. I know for men, we desire marriage and love. The problem is it's the women who, by and large, can't hold their commitment. It's funny, when they're married, it's about family and before marriage. When they get divorced, the decision is my happiness. And then when they're on the dating websites, oh shoot, here it comes. Then when they get on dating websites, my kids come first. Well, why didn't your kids come first when you wanted to get a divorce? Oh, the kids weren't important then. Anyway, great to have you all again. Make sure you come check me out again. Please share the information, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I need to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Well, more than that. We need to go ahead and get our viewership up. Please share the information. We're going to keep bringing you more and more content. You're going to be talking about the Tyler Perry quote and so much more. But thank you all so much for those who are supporting, and look forward to seeing you again soon. With that, Toxic Reality Show, your host, Gordon Nathaniel, we're out.